Bizarre Brain Comics.
Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. This time I just want to just give you a little look at some of my Tarzan comics. Now, if you've listened to my channel for any length of time, you know by now that Tarzan, there we go, is one of my favorites. I'm a big Tarzan, Edgar Rice Burroughs fan. And in my personal collection, the Tarzan and related jungle comic stuff is the single largest portion of my collection, and I have several going back many decades. Of course, I haven't been able to keep up with the newer stuff for the same reason I haven't been able to keep up with any of the newer comics. They're too expensive, and they seem to be too erratic to follow. And of course, everyone knows Tarzan made his first appearance in 1912 written by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Started in the pulp magazines, and then was published in novels, and they shortly after that started in the movies. And then in the 1920s, Hal Foster did the comic strip, making it one of the first adventure comic strips, and he was one of the best draftsmen of the time. Then later replaced by Bern Hogarth. Now the Tarzan, then early days of comic books, they started putting them in anthology comics. There were comics such as Sparkle, I had an old, really rough copy of Sparkle from the 1930s without a cover or anything, and it had a few pages of the Tarzan comic strip. And at that time, they were just reprinting stuff from newspaper strips before they started doing original material. And then in the 40s, they kind of ran out of the already published Tarzan strip stuff. And in, I think it was 1948, under Dell Comics, they started publishing, under license, Tarzan. But this Tarzan was not necessarily the Tarzan of the books, and not the Tarzan of the comic strips, and not the Tarzan of of the movies. It's kind of a mashup. And that original creator artist anyway, was Jesse Marsh. You can see here I have a couple volumes of Tarzan, the Jesse Marsh years. And he was the Tarzan artist in the comics up until the mid-60s. And he, as you can see, if you look at like this cover here, you can see that he has some good command of human anatomy. He could draw pretty well when he wanted to. The quality of his artwork was kind of hit or miss, and I won't go into all that because I've talked about Jesse Marsh before. But up until about issue 13 of the Dell comics, they just had line-drawn covers like these. I think these are taken from them. And those were the covers. Then with issue 13, I think it was, they started doing photo covers. And they were like this in here. This issue here is my, I'm going to take that out of the way now. This issue here is issue 16 of the Dell Comics Tarzan run. And they had photo covers, and the photographs featured, as in this case, Lex Barker, who was the actor portraying Tarzan in the movies at that time, with the interior art by Jesse Marsh. And I've talked about Jesse Marsh before, but just in case, and this particular issue I think I've actually done an episode on, but I just wanted to just start with there, because this is the oldest Tarzan comic that I've got, and you can get an idea of the Jesse Marsh artwork here. He's quite adequate. He was pretty good at doing wildlife, which is one of the reasons why I think one of the reasons he did it. Sometimes his storytelling really fell down, and his visual storytelling and wasn't that good. Other times it was really nice, and when he wanted to, he could draw really nice figures, and especially he could do very nice female figures. But most of the time, a lot of the time, he just kind of phoned it in. So the quality of his work was hit and miss. So this was 1950, issue 16. I really like this cover. And this is the photo cover, again, with Lex Barker. I think I did one on this one, too. The interesting here is the photo of the figure, and then all the background is painted. And this was issue 26, I think it was. Tarzan. And here, this one's really, really rough. Not connected. This is issue 36. Cover detached. It's missing a page. But it's what I got. I can't afford much, and whenever I can get a hold of a relatively inexpensive old copy of a Tarzan comic, I do it. Then, with issue, what was it? Yeah, issue 55, right here. Issue 55, see if we can get some of the glare off of that. They started the painted covers. Some really great painted covers. This is by Mo, it's either Gollub or Gollub. I'll just go with Gollub. Mo Gollub. He did this for about 2 years. And so it started really, I mean, he still made Tarzan look like Lex Barker. There was some great painted covers, and more eye-catching, more impactful than the photo covers were. Let's see here. This is 77 from 55 from 1954, I think it was. And here is I think issue 60. I'm not positive. And another great cover. Now, the thing is about Gollub, he started doing animation for Disney, and he worked on Bambi, and he left there and started doing these covers for a little over 2 years. Did these painted covers for Tarzan, and he later did painted covers for Turok, Son of Stone. And meanwhile, he also did animation for worked on animation for Hanna-Barbera. But one of the interesting things is that he worked on the animation for Bambi, and in the 50s he did the comic adaptation of Bambi for Dell. And some really great work there. Like I said, I can't remember, 60 or so, something like that. And here's another one. This is really great. And it's just jungle settings, often like here, very, very exciting and interesting. And here is, you can see, it's got some tension in the image. Something is about to happen, but you don't know what. Now, these painted covers had absolutely nothing to do with the events in the interior. But it didn't need to. Gollub's work was just so great. And then I gotta have a stretcher. Then here we go. Issue 66. Again, real tension. About to get it on with this leopard. Oh yeah. And yeah, what is it? This leopard. This is one of the more expensive ones that I got. And here we have 72. It's still some adventurous, but not quite as before. It has the monkeys in the canoe, and is a little more sedate. Now, this is where some of them, they became very, very sedate, less and less adventuresome, but they were still just as beautiful paintings. Like here, this one here. Whoops. Tarzan fishing with these native traps. Very sedate jungle scene. You know, the birds flying and just jungle life. Same thing with this one here. Tarzan with a bird with some new babies in the jungle. Same old, same old. This is issue 74. These are like 56, I think. Yeah, it's just, and then this is how I really like this one. sharing bananas with the chimpanzees. And that was what 74. I think this is 75. Yeah, 75. Issue 75. And here we got come back. Issue 76, and with a little going back to some more of the adventures, and then I'm missing one. I think there was one more issue 77. That was the last of the Mo Gollub painted covers. Then they went back to the photo covers for several years. That was when Gordon Scott was the artist, and that's where I'll pick up the next time I do these. When Gordon Scott was the actor, and so he was on the covers for a few years. And that's all I wanted to do this time, was share this small portion of my Tarzan collection. And these were all from Dell from the 1950s. I think this was 56 at this time. And Tarzan of the Apes. And remember, remember to like, share, subscribe. Share this with your other Tarzan fan friends. And leave me a comment or two. How do you like my Tarzan yell? Huh? I've had 60 years of practice. And what do you think of Jesse Marsh's artwork? What do you think of this Mo Gollub painted covers? What do you think of my some of my Tarzan action figures? And remember, comics are art.